Today we're going to try and start it. But before we do any attempts, we need to put fluid through the whole engine. I've got new oil, I've got new radiator fluid, I've got new gearbox oil, diff oil. So that all has to go in first. I also changed the terminals. The old ones were those big giant terminals and my new battery has tiny ones, so these are like $9 for a set. They have been replaced and looking good. I have no idea if this is hooked up correctly. I know that the vacuum line goes from this little weird thing all the way to the distributor, but I'm not 100% sure on the carburetor where this line goes to. So I followed a few pictures off Google and whatnot, and it seems like it's pointing towards this inlet here. And then I do have a couple more open vacuum lines on the bottom of this carburetor, which I'll have to sort out as we diagnose running the car, because I'm not a mechanic and I don't exactly know how all this stuff works. So we'll work it out as we go. Anyways, let's get some fluid in her and turn the key. Got some Valvoline oil, 1540. Should be good for a nice little old engine like this. All right, oil is in. Next step is filling this with water, putting a radiator flush through it on the very first fill. And once the car's running, I'm gonna get it let up to temp, clean out the radiator, then do a full flush. Then I'll add all my coolant, etc., etc. All right, before I actually do that, I did take off this hose that goes from the heater outlet back to the inlet over here. And I do need to put that piece back on before I run it, or, well, we're gonna have a problem. All right, temporary heater hose bypass in place. With fluid in, I should probably put the overflow hose into the container. Radiator overflow hose is in the reservoir. There is a bit of water in the reservoir too, so that's sorted. Should probably go down and do gearbox oil actually. I'll do that annoying stuff now just so it's out of the way. All right, oil's in, diff oil is in, gearbox oil is in, water is in. I'm not gonna worry about the fuel pump at the moment. That is disconnected. I need to wire that in. What I want to do initially is just turn the engine over, get the oil up in where it needs to go to just by cranking it. Fingers crossed it cranks. Actually, before I crank it, I do have to tighten up my alternator belt. I better do that really quick. As soon as I'm done, then we'll be cranking it. Okay, alternator belt is now done. New alternator belt, by the way. All the earths are connected where they need to be. Ow! Where they need to be connected. I guess we can now put the negative terminal on, just kind of loosely for now. Carby is whatever the carby wants to do. Like I said, we're not actually firing this. There's not going to be any spark, so we're just wanting to turn it over and hopefully actually see some fuel get sucked up. Actually, no, fuel won't get sucked up. So let's try and turn the key and see if we get any movement. Well, we got lights. All right, let's turn the key. Well, that sounded pretty nice, didn't it? Nice and solid. I didn't hear any kind of weird leaks or anything. Oh, that's great. I'm gonna do that again. Get some oil lubricated right up in those cylinders and in the head. Nice, nice. All right, let's get this fuel pump sorted. I've got to wire it in. Actually, what I might do first is test for spark, see if I've actually got the coil pack around the right way. So I might pull a spark plug out and rest it against something and see if I've got spark. Well, we got spark, which is good. I wonder if I can actually show it on camera here. You just see I've got the plug rested up against the old fuel pump. No idea if that camera's picking it up or not, but it's there. So let's put that back together. At least I know the coil should be set up the right way. So to wire up this fuel pump, I've got one of the wires earthed to the chassis, and the other positive wire I've put just a little crimp connector on it so I can, you know, stuff around and pull it apart if I need to. I've just followed the original wiring with a new wire down to the fuse box. And the original wiring was set up like this, where the cable just pushed in behind the fuse. This here is the original wire which he had squished in, and this was the one running to the fuel pump. It's definitely not the way I'm going to keep it. I think it's absolutely horrible. I'll wire this in correctly at some stage, but just for testing purposes now, this will do. It's hilarious. Anyway, let's see if this thing fires. I'll quickly crimp up the cable at the front here onto there, and fingers crossed we get some boomies. Now that we're connected, first thing to do is turn the key onto ignition and see if that fuel pump actually turns on. Should make a crazy loud ticking noise, which is just common for these old school fuel pumps. There it is. I think that just hit prime then. There we go, it's now got fuel. Nice. Well, there's no time like the present, I guess. I'm just going to turn it off and turn it back on again and make sure it's kept prime. Alright, nice, so she's kept prime. Are we ready to actually turn the key? That's the big question. Am I going to blow something up? Are you all going to point your fingers and laugh? I'm not expecting it to idle correctly initially, just because I think everything's in the wrong spots. I probably should turn the choke on the dash while I'm trying to do this as well. Let's see how we go. Alright, here we go. Choke is on. We're in neutral. Pump's running. Not firing, not a problem. I might also disconnect the fuel line and make sure fuel is actually getting up through this pump to the fuel line. I'll do that first. Well, there's fuel in there, so it must be getting up through. Give it a quick test in a bucket. Plenty of fuel. I wonder if it could be the rotation of the dizzy. That could be a thing, because it's kind of like way twisted out this way. It might be worth a shot actually, loosening that up. Alright, so it's backfiring. Alright, so I just stuffed around for about half hour trying to figure out why I couldn't get this thing started. Vacuum lines, played with it all a lot, couldn't work it out. When I took the distributor off and pulled it out of its little, placing that it sits in, I spun the bottom of it and all the rest of it, I played with it. When I put it back in, it was 180 degrees in the wrong position. So these were trying to fire on an upstroke with the spark. Now I took the distributor off, I rotated it at 180 degrees, I put it back in again, and now we can actually start the car. I literally just turned it over then. I'll do it again really quick. There we go, it runs. So that was a big issue for me, and that was actually a headache. I had to watch a Philippines video that wasn't in English to try and work that one out. But anyway, the timing adjustment, which needs to be worked out with a timing light, which I don't have. That might be part of the tools that I need to add to the collection very, very soon. Alright, well now that we know it fires, might try and get it idling a little bit nicer and continue fiddling with it. Excited? Alright, with a little bit of adjusting of the distributor, a little bit of adjustment on the throttle adjuster here. Someone had that turned all the way up so it was revving really high. It was up like this. That wasn't fun. That's been adjusted. I'm not too sure what these vacuum lines are. There's one there and there's one at the back. I don't know what that does. I've actually disconnected. Oh, no, that's still connected. I don't know what this does. I guess this is supposed to go into that, etc., etc., vice versa. I think that's the proper way it's supposed to go, but anyway, I don't really know what this does, but whatever. But that's awesome. We got the car idling, and it's idling not bad. I think I need to take it somewhere to get a timing light on it and get someone to actually tune it properly, but I'm happy with this at the moment. It's definitely enough to get me started and to get finished the rest of the car. Let's have a listen to it under some revs. Ooh, sounds fat. Also, the thermostat seems to be working quite well. That's opening and closing and letting water go through the radiator, which is what we want to see. The cap's holding up. I hope you guys can hear my voice over this, because, yeah. No leaks, which is very important. Anyways, that's going to do it for this quick little episode of getting this thing started. A small headache, but nothing major. A few vacuum lines that weren't on, that I had to put on, etc., etc. But that is a success. I don't know what to do next. We'll work it out.